Welcome back, your favorite movie review channel, Mann Cinema Reviews, with its ever lovely host, Peter Mann. That's me. What's up, y'all? You know how to come back with another list. Unfortunately, like a band-aid, you just gotta rip it off. And that is my top 10, no, not worst, but my top 10 disappointing films of 2022. Now, business as usual, press like, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well to notify you of any and all reviews and the like on this channel. Thank you very much for choosing Mann Cinema Reviews. So, before we get down to the nitty gritty of things, we got some dishonorable mentions. One in particular was on the list. Lucky it got out, just because I know a lot of fans of this director will come after me, but Crimes of the Future, wasn't a fan of David Cronenberg's latest. Doesn't mean I won't go back and take a relook at it, analyze it, see where I found faults with it, and maybe I'd have a new perspective as well. But yes, not on my list. Nearly was though. We have The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Now, I'm not saying it's one of the worst films, but I was deeply disappointed because Nicolas Cage just hit it out of the park with Pig. And for him to come with this, let down by it. But very charming nonetheless, and that's why it's not on the list. Now with biopics, I have not reviewed I Want to Dance with Somebody. Looking at you. Wait till you hit my review. But yeah, wasn't a big year for biopics neither. Didn't really care for Elvis. Didn't make it on the list. Amsterdam, we know what kind of dumpster fire that was. But again, I gave it 2 stars. I will give it to the cast and crew that came to play, and yet just was a misfire for me. And Terrifier 2, the campiness, just the 2.5 hours just didn't cut it for me. Doesn't mean go back and take a look, but again, nearly made it. And I just hate how overrated it is. And if I saw it one more time, I saw it recently, or a good portion of it, and that was enough for me to watch. But Barbarian, just such an overrated movie. If I saw it one more time, probably would have made the list. At number 10, Violent Night. Now, it's you gotta start off with the list with something playful, something that was just the lesser of the evils. But Violent Night, just to me, wants to be such a staple in the Christmas classics of films, but just to me just wasn't, and I just don't know why. Because David Harbour is a very charismatic Santa, and I just felt like it just didn't come together in a cohesive way, in the way that I thought could just knock it out of the park, because it just really doesn't. At number 10, Violent Night. Now number 9, it was a film I didn't even review. I saw it on an airplane, and that was probably the best way to watch it, because you're stuck with it. You can't push pause. If you wanted to, you can, but I stuck with it. I had my headphones on, watched it, and felt like it just wasn't really put together in a coherent way, and felt maybe just a little bit undercooked. Didn't even feel like a finished product, and that was Morbius. Now, Jared Leto should just tell his representation when a script from a comic book comes sliding his way, maybe just don't do it. I just feel like Morbius had the makings of a good film, but once you saw the trailer, it just really looked like a dumpster fire from the jump. And it was. It just feels undercooked, underwritten, and just bad. I don't know how to say it. It was a bad movie, and nothing could help it. Nothing. Going on to number 8, Deepwater. Now this was deeply disappointing. Had the makings of an erotic thriller. Ben Affleck, Ana de Armas, sizzling hot. They were in a relationship in real life. in the production of the film, and now you kind of know why things didn't work out for them. Maybe mainly because this movie just kind of sucked. It was meandering, wasn't sexy enough, and it was boring, man. I feel bad for Adrian Lin because I was very much looking forward to this film, and it just was thoroughly disappointing. Going on to number 7, Halloween Ends. Should be higher on the list. Just wasn't a great movie. It's a terrible way to end the series. David Gordon Green, it's kind of all your fault. You had a plethora of writers. It's kind of all their fault too. It wasn't put together well, and for a movie called Halloween Ends, you forgot its main character, Michael Myers. Hello, kind of his film, and he's hardly in it. You nearly have to wait an hour to see Michael Myers. But what they do to this guy, they butcher him. They just butcher him like he butchers people. And maybe that was the joke on us. And we fell for it. Halloween Ends, just a bad movie. Going on to number 6. Now, this is a fun Netflix film that a lot of people seem to enjoy. I just didn't get it. Didn't like it. Didn't want it. Just leave it over there. Just please. The Gray Man. Ryan Gosling. Okay. You had a capable cast, okay? But really, I just thought it was bare bones. I thought it was nothing but just smoke and mirrors. And it's just not a great film. Going on to number 5 now. This was not a way to end a series again. Jurassic World Dominion. You had the original cast and you have this new cast. It's a blending, an amalgam if you will. But it just doesn't work. A lot of things just didn't land for me. Didn't land for a lot of people. I don't think I know anybody that has lauded it, praised it. Just was bad. It was bland. Terribly bland for a Jurassic World, Jurassic Park fan out there. And you guys know it. You just don't want to admit it. Going on to number 4. For a long time, I thought this was going to be my number 1. But there are some stinkers that came. And it was earlier on in the year, Firestarter. Now, I'm glad John Carpenter got to be a part of this production because initially he was going to direct the original. But you know how that goes. He comes back as the composer, and it's literally the best thing about the movie. Zac Efron just wasn't casted well. He looks too young to be the dad. I mean, I think maybe he's a little bit older than me, and I got kids too, but again, just didn't fit the part, didn't fit the role, and just his beard was the best thing about it. Firestarter was actually a fun movie though, because I saw it in a nearly empty theater, and I knew it was going to be bad. Just stayed the course. I knew what I was getting into, and I had fun reviewing it with a little bit of drinks in me. It was great. Go and watch the episode. I had fun, and you know it. Number 3, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We didn't need another entry into this beloved, at least original film, because the slew of movies that came afterwards, I don't know how you feel, but just don't go reinventing the wheel. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was another terrible stinker. All right, y'all, going on to my top 2. Now, this was a film that, again, had the makings of a decent film, but again, I blame the marketing. And if I didn't see the trailer, maybe my rating would be higher. But it was just meandering, it was lazy, everything was spoon-fed to you. Even if I didn't see the trailer, I kind of saw it a mile away, and that is The Invitation. Now, this was number 1 on my list for a long time. I gave it 0 stars because I just saw it coming from a mile away. Doesn't mean if it is predictable, it's terrible. I just thought that it treated its audience like they were dummies. Everything was kind of spoon-fed for you. The only thing that the cast and crew looks sublime, good-looking people in this film. I don't care, cardboard, wooden, just terrible representation of a horror film. Because the cardinal sin of it is it's not scary. It just didn't have any bearings to it. The invitation was so bland, and for it to have a post-credit scene or whatever that was at the end, I should have just left early because it just treated me like an idiot, and I do not like my films to do so. The invitation was terrible from the jump. Now, my number one. This was a film that I also didn't review, and maybe because it was so forgettable, I may have even forgotten to review it, and that is Netflix's Rob Zombie directed The Munsters. Now this film, at least I thought, because it had some production value to it, I thought, hey, Universal Pictures is giving Rob Zombie a family-friendly horror film. Weren't they the same studio that fired him from his first film, House of a Thousand Corpses? Nearly all of it was shot on the back lot as well, and you can tell the fact that they go on to make a Hollywood Horror Nights maze out of the film just was, kind of cool for Rob Zombie. Kind of just vindicated him as, hey, you know what, this is where I started. They didn't believe in my vision, but they caught up. They finally saw my vision come to fruition, and Lionsgate gave you a platform, and you go on to make a stellar sequel. You know what, Rob Zombie, I was always in the corner of Rob Zombie. I was a fan of your music growing up. I still think Hellbilly Deluxe, Sinister Urge, great projects. Was a fan of your earlier work. I did see The Promise, but The Munsters, let's get back to the task at hand. The Munsters is terrible, and I thought this was going to be released theatrically. Good thing it wasn't, and it was given to us in Netflix, because it just sure did feel like something you can stream. I just really thought that Universal Pictures was really giving Rob Zombie his, fair shot, fair go at it. I really was looking forward to this film. It's terrible from the jump. It's just very forgettable. It's not funny. It's very stale, very bland. A lot of the jokes are not going to hit because a lot of its key demographic, kids, they don't get it. It's so, maybe you're making it for the fans of the original series, but again, nothing modern to it, nothing much to it, and even fans of the original television series, I don't think like this film. And maybe I'm wrong, but it happens to be the worst film or most disappointing film in my list. Thank you very much for choosing Mann Cinema Reviews. Be looking for more reviews this year, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.